All right, everyone, thanks for joining us. 2019 Top Gun High School Invitational Girls Championship coming up. They are in their practice right now. 4 bowlers taking in the lanes after we've narrowed our field of the best high school bowlers in Wisconsin down in the Final 4. Summerlee Bodeker, Stephanie Zagar, Megan George, and Sam Munch are your 4 ladies taking to this pair of lanes for the initial round of the finals. 4 bowlers will be bowling. The low 2 scores after this game will be eliminated, and the final 2 bowlers will move into the championship match. And bowl 1 game for the Top Gun Championship Boys Division. Just finishing up their semifinals right now, and they will take to the lanes once the girls are completed. So once again, practice still rolling on here from Bowlero. And we'll be underway with the girls' Top Gun Invitational once practice is completed in about 4 minutes. Once again here from Bowlero. Ladies, a couple minutes of practice remaining before we get underway with their finals of this Wisconsin Top Gun High School Invitational Championship. Boys just finishing the semifinal right now. They will take to the championship pair once the girls are complete with their roll-off. So a couple minutes away. Enjoy the practice. We'll be back. Let's start this championship match as quickly as possible. And after the ladies have been given their final instructions, they are ready to get underway here at Bowlero. The original Bowlero in Wauwatosa, Summerlee Boddicker from Racine Park, fires off and starts with a 10-pin. High two scores this game advance into the championship match. The low two games end up finishing in third and fourth, respectively. As Megan George from Kenosha Tremper starts with a strike. You see Sam Munch. Sam out of the Oshkosh area, bowled for Oshkosh West in high school, trips the 4-pin out. Once again, our young men just finishing up their semifinal round, and they will take to this championship pair once the ladies are completed. Stephanie Zagar, you saw her with a nice run. Hell of a roll-off she had back at the Wisconsin High School Mixed Doubles Championships back in December, where she gave it a heck of a battle as she tried to get into the championship match. Unfortunately, fell a little short. But she's out to get a little redemption, especially with her win last year in the Top Gun. Looking to go back to back for Zagar. And Megan George can't get the 7 to go off the port side. She'll get the removal of that wrist brace and take care of that spare. Kenosha Tremper, of course, 3-time champions of Girls Division I here in Wisconsin. And Zagar can't get the 10 to drop. Looking to stay clean through 2. $150 Visa gift card plus a high 5 gear custom jersey. The championship medal will go to the winner of the event today. Second place gets a $100 Visa gift card along with the jersey and medal. And if you're eliminated in this match, you receive a $25 high 5 gear gift certificate and a miss by Zagar. The high 5 gear gift certificate plus a $50 Visa gift card. Summerlee Boddicker rings up the 10. See what Megan George can do here from the port side. And gets that one to carry nicely. And a miss by Boddicker. That could be problematic as this match proceeds. Sam Munch playing that very direct line. We've seen Sam here a few times on our Bowlero Summer Challenge Series shows that were on Spectrum Sports. We have another set of youth tournaments coming up this summer, live streamed on YouTube for everyone's viewing enjoyment. We'll get that schedule out in the next few weeks. Is that 9 going to go for Zagar? Not this time. And that's going to need to be respotted. So hold on 1 second. Give her that fourth frame. I'll be right back. Sorry about this, lady. And after a slight delay, a little scorekeeping necessity being performed. We got some of the Bowlero leading off the girls' fourth frame as the 5 drives into the 7. Takes care of business. Right now, Sam Munch, your leader with 3 strikes. Of course, top 2 scorers will advance into the championship match here for the ladies. Stephanie Zagar looking to bounce back after that solid 9-pin last frame. And a week 10 in return. Sam Munch looking for 4 in a row, and the 4 and 9 both say, not this time. Smart thing here, take 1. Keep the pin count. You don't want to get yourself where you're in a must-make situation later on in the game because you gave away pins on strikes earlier in the game. And Munch gives it a ride, gets the 1 for sure. Not a bad way to go. Those of you joining us live, thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday afternoon. Watch some of the best young high school players in the state of Wisconsin. Gotten through their elimination rounds and into this girls' championship. See what Megan George can do there to scramble the rack.
How does it work from here?
As a young men's field's been set. And they're itching to take to the lanes. Boddicker, another single pin miss. Could be her downfall. As our leading qualifier for the boys, Sam Redant at Kenosha Tremper. Second place was Jacob Zondiak out of Harborside. Bill Doro from West Allis Central third. And Justin Gauger out of West Allis Central tied for third and fourth with his teammate Doro, as Munch comes right back after the 4-9 with a quality strike. Zager, once again, defending champion of this event from last year. Looking to go back-to-back. Feat that's never been done. She's matched her brother Kyle, who in his high school career had a Top Gun win as well. As going high is Zagar for that 6-pin. Players bowling on a modified version of Bowlero's house pattern here. Something where the ball isn't going to overreact too much from the outside. There's not an excessive amount of wet-dry on these lanes here today. Quality shots need to be made. This is for the Top Gun Championship after all. But you don't need to make PB or PWBA Tour quality shots, but you do need to make good shots, and that is not a good shot there for Boddicker. Boddicker, former winner of our high school mixed doubles tournament a couple seasons back. And Megan George comes high. And a lot of coaches for these players in attendance as well as friends and family. Jerry Schultz, head coach of Kenosha's Tremper, had a couple of his young ladies here that had fine finishes. George, the only player of that team, 3-time defending Division I state champs on the girls' side to make this live stream final. And even with that open, currently still leaves Megan George in second place through 6 frames. And Munch comes high. She will be your leader with a spare conversion. George second, Zagar third, Boddicker fourth currently as we're entering the last 4 frames of this match. And we've seen quite a few of those strikes out of Stephanie Zagar in her high school career. Saw Stephanie's brother Ryan at the USBC Masters that covered as part of Flow Bowling. And it was good to see Ryan take home a check from the Masters. Didn't miss match play by a lot of pins, but of course, that is one heck of a learning experience going out to the USBC Masters for any young player. And George should take that break and be happy as just the 4-7 stand on a high hit. Boddicker looking to bounce back off of back-to-back opens, and the 6-pin just lies in that flat gutter. Does nothing to help the cause of the 10-pin to fall. And the quality cover there by George. Keeps her in the top 2. That's where you need to be right now. First or second, this game doesn't matter. Just get you into that championship match. And wow, the buzzard makes its appearance for Boddicker as back-to-back-to-back, the Bo Burton buzzard for 3 opens. Munch looking to keep the lead. Smash 7. Does not agree. Munch, a senior at Oshkosh West. Good run for her team at the state championship, just falling short to Kenosha Tremper in that championship match. Zagar puts a double on the board, making a run towards Megan George for that number 2 spot. And the spare by Munch gives her a 2-pin advantage over George for first place. Zagar right now is actually pulled into an advantage with that double ahead of George. And Boddicker just kind of right now looking to get out of everyone's way as Megan George starts her charge towards the finish. With a strike in the 8th frame. And problems continue to multiply for Boddicker. And she's looking like this is going to be her last game in this year's Top Gun. And Boddicker, a graduating senior this year from Racine Park, had a good run during her high school career, especially on the girls' singles side, and that's just piling it on right now. Munch trying to bounce back with a strike after back-to-back spares. Started hot early. Take that 4-pin. You do not deserve to stand against the might of Sam Munch. And that keeps Munch in that advantage over George and Zagar right now. Zagar maximum of 206, where George is pacing at 203, Munch pacing at 205. Must strike for Zagar. Responds once again. Quality shot, keeps herself alive. And pardon me, 236 the max for Zagar. While Munch and George are pacing in the 2 teams. And Boddicker is going to end up finding herself in 4th place even with that strike. That's her max 161. See that nice and relaxed shoulder for George. Gets to the foul line, shoulder down, follow through just in front of the face, and the 4 slaps the 7. And we have ourselves a fight getting into the 10th frame for 3 of these players. Zagar still a chance for 235. Maybe 236 with the strike, mixes it up. And she can put herself in position to shut out George and Munch with 3 strikes in the 10th frame. And that one, Munch just gave a little extra on, and now she's suddenly finding herself in danger after that hot start with strikes in the first 3 frames of falling out of the championship match. As Megan George can step up to the 10th frame and remove any doubt of advancing to the championship with a couple of strikes. So right now, Stephanie Zagar, your leader, Megan George second, Sam Munch third, Summerlee Bodeker fourth, getting into this 10th frame. Take a look at George bringing that ball in, and the 7 doesn't go, and a little bit of life for Munch now in the 10th frame, and there could be the possibility of a tie for second place as well. Bodeker just getting out of the way. That one pulled well left. And the 310 remains. Quality square by George. So that's going to leave her max as 211. That's going to give a chance for Sam Munch to double in the 10th and get good count to get past. And of course, that's assuming that Stephanie Zagar marks in the 10th frame as well. So once again, excitement we usually see in this Top Gun event. The match is coming down to the 10th frame, especially this 4-for-2 match. And there it is, 210. Coming 211 for Megan George. 211. And once again, Bodeker just getting out of the way. Easily her worst game of the day as she averaged over 210 on the day to get to this point. So don't judge the fine performance of Bodeker by the one game on the live stream. As she threw it well all day long. Big shot here for Munch. Strike to stay alive. Anything less could let both her opponents through. And Munch, another smash 7. And you just heard her say, oh my God, what do I have to do? That was just a little bit high. But with the force that ball hit with, it's going to leave her at 2-0. And now it's just going to need a mark out of Zagar to advance. And another 7. This is the blower variety. You know, a must mark for Zagar. Otherwise, she could finish in 3rd place in this match, and hooks towards it, makes the contact. And now just keeping it on the lane is the key. As Sam Munch, even with the hot start, 4-9, a smash 7 in a couple of inopportune places, is going to leave Sam in 3rd place, going home with a $25 Hi-Fi Gear gift certificate, a $50 Visa gift card, and a 4th place medal. So we're going to get the ladies ready for the championship match. Short audio break. And returning to Bowlero for that girls Top Gun championship in just a couple of moments. So even though you're on that lane, just follow your nose. So give me a second, and then once you can play this kick start. Just like TV then. Hey, we're underway. Championship match. 2019 Wisconsin Top Gun High School Invitational from Bowlero, the original Bowlero in Wauwatosa. I'm Phil Brylo here with you once again. Those of you who might know me from Flow Bowling, $2 Phil. Bringing you the championship action. Lots on the line here for these young players here in this game as George starts with a strike. George, just a junior. She's going to have one more year to try to get the four-peat up at state with her Kenosha-Tremper Trojans ladies team. Stephanie Zagar, part of the team at Kenosha Bradford. Zagar matches with a strike. Zagar, just a sophomore. Loves spending time with her family. Of course, that is a quality bowling family in the Racine-Kenosha area for many years with the Zagar family. Dad, Matt, here watching, and I'm sure Matt will be the first one to tell you it's a lot tougher to watch than it is to get out here and bowl. As he shakes his head at me. So we've seen a lot of strikes out of the Zagar family over the years, many times on the shows we had on Spectrum Sports in Milwaukee while that existed, and now bring it to you live over the waves of the internet. Zagar ashes that one to push. And that one does not for the 3-6-10. Glad to get the 9 out of that combination. As markedly easier to spare up. So you move to the left side of the approach. Look to take down all 3 pins with the ball. Smooth out of the hand. And the 6 goes around the 10 and the open frame for Zagar in the second frame. George has a high game of 286 to her credit, high series 697. And the smooth rolling Portsider starts her game with a double and an early 22 pin advantage over Zagar. Missing a 8 pin out of that rack, so that re-rack will not count against any George would like to take in this match. Of course, we follow PBA type rules in our step ladders and live stream finals, 2 re-racks per player per game. For requesting tournament director assistance on additional. And I don't like to get pulled out of the booth as tournament director. Almost got the lucky break, sends the 6 between the 3 and the 5, however. Leaves that as a choppable spare. We'll see what George does to flatten it out and make sure she gets both pins with the ball. Last thing I do in a situation such as this, hand momentum right back to your opponent. Hooks it in and gets them both with the ball. Quality cover by George, and she maintains the 20-pin advantage through 2.5 frames. Zagar stepping up here in her half of the third. You see that shoulder, always you see that with these young players nowadays. Keep that shoulder dropped and relax to release. Let that ball get that nice fluid swing. Come up and through, and the flat, whoa, spoke too soon, as that wasn't the flat 10. The 6 did some work on the 10-pin. Took it down, keeps Zagar within 20. Once again, $150 Visa gift card, customized high five gear jersey, and the championship medal for the winner. Still not a bad reward for the person who finishes second in this match. $100 Visa gift card with the high five gear custom jersey and the second place medal. Good payoff today. I want to thank all of our sponsors that helped out with that, including our hosts here at Bowlero and Wauwatosa, as the ring 10 takes to the pin deck for Zagar. Bowlers qualified for the Top Gun Invitational by being the top in fill percentages in their respective districts. Wisconsin High School Bowling. And by filling frames, fill percentage, number of strikes and spares the bowlers get as compared to total frames bowled. The fewer opens you have, the higher your fill percentage is going to be. And even though it was skinny jeans on that 10-pin, it's covered by Zagar. And you'll see a lot of coaches at the high school level, how they emphasize spare making. So many matches at the high school level, won and lost by a player's single pin miss. And you'll see these young players shoot spare after spare after spare. And once again, it's the kind of the modern day 10-pin, and you do see a lot of corners here at Bowlero for opposite hand of where they'd usually leave them. Head pin comes off the sideboard so quickly, it runs interference on the 3, 5, and 6 trying to get to the 10 for Megan George. But once again, single pin spare should be a simple pickup, and she hooks in front of it. And momentum goes right back to Zagar, even though Zagar is going to be down by at least 8 pins, but she's only working on a spare. I don't think Jerry Schultz can make her do push-ups right now. It's not practice, but he'd like to. Megan's coach from Kenosha Tremper. You see how physically fit all these young players are nowadays. They can get out here and bowl and bowl and bowl and keep the energy level up. They've already gone through 7 games in less than 4 hours here at Bowlero, entering their 8th game of competition for these 2 young ladies. And it's a lot of bowling in a short period of time. We don't mess around here at the Top Gun. It's a mental and physical grind for these young players to get to the top. If you want to fly out of here as Top Gun, you have to prove it. And another spare bouncing back by Megan George. Keeps her at an 8-pin advantage. Getting into the Zagar half of the 5th frame. Once again, boys championship coming up next. They will get a slight bit of practice time before they get started, but we will keep the stream live. You'll just see the young men practicing as they get through. Zagar gets them all to go, and it's an 8-pin match with George having that 8-pin advantage, getting into the last half of our championship game. Always look forward to having the Top Gun event for these young players. 9th season we've run this Top Gun. We've had many locations, many unique locations, including a couple of years here at Bowlero, a few years at Motion Plus lanes, and even a couple of years at the lanes at Shorewood High School on the northeast side of Milwaukee. and packs it solid. And the lead now goes to Zagar for the first time in this game. Megan George, when she's not in the lanes, she likes to hang out with her grandmother, spend time, and want to give a shout out to the entire family, including her twin sister. As a nice bounce back off the spare by George keeps her within 2 pins. A little over the top of that one. Isn't going to get there. You just kind of saw the elbow get out a little early for Megan George on that shot. And took just enough off a clean release, clean rotation to not get up into the pocket enough to get that 3-pin. And the cover there by George keeps her within 2 pins, but Zagar working on a double can get her lead out to a dozen. The strike here in the 7th frame, and she flushes it for 3-bagger. 12 pins the advantage now for Zagar. It's good to see a couple of young players. They're still underclassmen. They'll get a chance to come back again next year, 2020 edition of the Top Gun High School Invitational. Get a chance to get some more merchandise awards under their belt. And Zagar looking for the 4th in a row. And another solid 9 for Zagar ends the string, but still keeps her up by 11 with a successful conversion. And of course, still a lot of bowling for these young players outside of their high school seasons. Many young high school players are actually doing some volunteer coaching with the Wisconsin Middle School program that's been running during the months of March and April, and they're going to have their Wisconsin Middle School Championship in May. And a lot of young players have started their high school bowling careers, have started participating in the sport of bowling by joining it in middle school with a little bit of interest and constantly improving and making their way through the strikes and spares and getting themselves into contention. And even with the iffy footwork for Megan George, she throws the strike. She's down by 11, but she can knock that deficit down to a single pin with a strike here in the 9th frame. Nice over-the-shoulder look at George. Right up around 2nd arrow, needs to get all the way up, and will she get a break on that 10? No, she doesn't. And a must spare here, no doubt about it. But then once again, her 10th frame may not matter as Zagar now holds the opportunity to shut out Megan George before she steps up in the final frame. Needs to get some movement, just tickles that 10 pin down. George's maximum now 206. While Stephanie Zagar pacing out 207. So mark could be enough for Zagar, but it's going to require a strike here in the 9th frame to get away with just a spare and a strike in the 10th. Zagar up And that's what happens. You point a little bit too much in that oil. Yes, it is a modified house pattern, but there's still a little more oil to the left. It'll get the ball to hold, but it won't let that ball finish. And you see that flat 10, the result for Zagar. And now we're sitting with the possibility of a tie getting into the final frame if Zagar can't punch the first two in the 10th. And that's also assuming a conversion on this 10-pin as Zagar comes in the frame. All over the 10-pin. Gets it covered nicely. So Zagar's maximum right now is 216. So that would be the first two in the 10th and a pin to lock up victory, as Megan George can shoot 206. If Zagar goes strike and any spare, there's the possibility of a tie. Zagar right up around second arrow, and that 8 with the tees sliding to the left before falling down. And here it is. This is what these young bowlers dream of time after time. This is what they go to their high school practices when they practice on their own. Give me a chance to strike the win and let me prove my worth. And here's the chance for Stephanie Zagar to do that right now. Strike for victory. That's left. And that's going to really make life interesting. You hear her dad hollering out in the background, take one for sure. Because getting one would leave her with 205. And that would let Megan George strike out in the 10th frame for the win. So pinfall, big right now. As this, to force all three in the 10th. Smart thing for Zagar, take the one. You'd hate to leave it where your opponent would just need, just need. Ha. You still got to throw that double, but when you got to get to the last one, you have to force him to throw the strike for the win. And you can't blame Megan George taking a little extra time here before she gets on the approach. She knows she needs all three in the 10th to pull out this Top Gun championship. Fell off it a little bit, gets it to go. And you can see the smile on the way back. She knows it wasn't her best shot, but it was the shot that got the job done. First ball of the 10th frame. Two more to go for George before she can claim this Top Gun title. A little right at target line from last time, still gets it to hold. And there is the chance to win. Strike on this 12th shot is a victory for George. 9 is a tie. Tie is a single ball roll off that Megan George would have lane choice and order choice on. And anything less than 9, Zagar takes home the title. George gets it up, gets to throw it, and we have a tie. Single ball roll off going to happen. We'll get that underway in just a moment. And Megan George wasting no time. She knew what lane she wanted to start on, and she knew she wanted Stephanie Zagar to throw first. So single ball roll off, just like you see on the Fox Sports Network PBA TV shows. One ball. That score doesn't matter anymore. That 205 out the window. It's just a single ball now for these young ladies to break the tie. If they tie again, we move to lane 61 and continue to break that roll off. Zagar gets it to roll up, gets it to mix, takes them all down. So now it's a must strike for George to continue the roll off. Anything less than a strike for George, and Zagar is your Top Gun champion. If George strikes, let's do another roll off. Let's do 5 of them. Just like, and Zagar's been there before. She had that roll off during the mixed doubles championship, where she had a 5 extra ball roll off. George gets the roll up. Take that. 10 pins, trying to stand in defiance of Megan George. They all fall. And we're on to round 2 of this roll off. And the order stays the same all the way through. It's up to Steph Zagar. Gets it on target line, gets the ball to shred the rack. And once again, Megan George finds herself in the must strike position. To force this roll off to a 3rd extra frame. Rolls it up, gets the 6, doesn't go, and Stephanie Zagar is your Top Gun champion for 2019. Unbelievable finish between these 2 young ladies, and boy, I hope the guys give us enough excitement coming up as they're going to be taking in the lane shortly. Stay tuned as the boys championship be coming up here from Bowlero and Wauwatosa. Gentlemen, let me have them reset the lanes and we'll get you set up for practice and ready to go.
I honestly thought that would never end. I was super scared. I'm like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna roll. That was cool.
gentlemen. Hopefully your matches are as exciting as the ladies just were. I play no favorites, I just want exciting matches. So you guys have 7 minutes of practice as a group. Got 2 rounds. Like we said, scores that you hold each point don't matter. First and second place out of this next game advance to the championship match. Third and fourth get the medal and 25-hour high five to and $50 to the game. Awesome. So you guys can get something by you know the fans out. So we'll keep you guys going here and practice.
I'm wearing red. This is all-star stuff that I'm wearing. What do you guys wear?
Arbor says it's motion, right? You barely knew high school.
You both the same?
No. He goes to Trevor. He both the same. Except I'm wearing red, which is kind of scenic.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell Ray. I got 3 miles to here.
All right, John, let's 7 minutes of practice.
Alrighty.
All right, how about that for an exciting match between our young ladies with Stephanie Zagar going back-to-back. First person to do it in Top Gun history. And she's only a sophomore. So another chance for her next year. Megan George, heck of a showing too, taking it to overtime. 2 extra frames, just a 6-pin. Gets in Megan George's way. But once again, another chance to get a look at her next year as well, as she's only a junior. So we've got our young players on the men's side, the boys' side, practicing here. They're getting their 7 minutes of practice in. Give you introductions of the players as they roll on. Here you see Jacob Zonlek out of Kenosha Bowls for Harborside High School, one of the newer high schools down in the Kenosha Unified School District. Stepping up now on the right lane, lane 62 here at Bowlero Wauwatosa. Sam Radant bowls for Kenosha Tremper. And a couple players from West Dallas Central that bowl for West Dallas Central. Justin Gauger, a young man that was just up in lane 61, and then our other player coming back down, Bill Doro. Doro, you see walking back into your screen on lane 62. Doro bowls for West Dallas Central as well. Tori Henderson just walking the concourse here. Keeping an eye on things, all things good at the Pro Shop here inside of Bowlero at Bowler's Mart. One of the many fine Pro Shop facilities in the Milwaukee area that do a lot of things to help out high school bowling. Of course, Bowler's headquarters with Chad Kloss, John Magna, Dwight Albrecht out at Spare Time Pro Shop, my cohort in the radio game, on those Sunday morning radio shows on Sports Talk 105.7 FM, The Fan, and the Castle Lane Spare Time Bowling Radio Show. Just wrapped up that season today. If you've missed any of the shows all year long, we had a nice talk today about the USBC Masters, PBA League, PBA playoffs coming up, PBA League draft coming up tomorrow. You can keep an eye on those archives at 1057fmthefan.com. Make sure you check those out. And, of course, you'll get to start checking me out once again on Flow Bowling as the PBA 50 Tour will be starting a week from tomorrow, Tax Day, April 15th from Clearwater, Florida, in the Johnny Petraglia BBL Open. If you're not a subscriber to Flow Bowling, what are you waiting for? It's the only way you're going to be able to see the best bowlers in the world. I like to think that we have some of the best bowlers in Wisconsin here on the youth side. As a matter of fact, I know we have some of the best bowlers on the youth side in Wisconsin here. As a competition on both the girls and boys side of this Top Gun High School Invitational, tough all day, modified house pattern, and when you can get a young player like Sam Redant averaging over 235 on the day, you know there's some quality players out here. Once again, modified house pattern. I'd say it's about a 5-1. I mean, it's not quite the high end of sport compliant, but you definitely could tell these young players had to make good shots, not PBA Tour quality shots or PWBA quality shots, but good shots nonetheless in order to get to the pocket. As the players are entering their last couple of minutes of practice here at Bowlero. Rainy day here in the Milwaukee area, but the action keeping everybody warm here inside of Bowlero. And lots of open play going on as well. Nice part about the center of this large, 72 lanes here at Bowlero. We're up on the high end of this bowling center. And the nice part about the center of this large is that they actually have cosmic bowling going on a few lanes away from us. They've got the big screens on with the, just got done with the Brewer victory. For people to watch while they bowled. So some people making their way down this way, checking out what's going on with this Top Gun Invitational Finals. They just saw the girls wrap up one heck of the championship match. If you missed it, get a chance to rewind it later on. As it took 2 extra frames for rolling off, 2 extra balls for Stephanie Zagar to come out on top, 20-19 over Megan George and take home her second consecutive Top Gun championship. And these young players entering their last few seconds of practice. We'll get them underway momentarily.
So once again, top 2 after this game move on to the championship. 3rd and 4th this match, 3rd and 4th the tournament. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck, guys. Thanks, Phil. Good luck.
And we are underway here at Bowlero, the original Bowlero in Wauwatosa, with Sam Redant starting things off. Our number 1 seed, the two-handed stylings of Redant, starting with a strike. Zonlak, number 2 seed out of Harborside, kicks that 10 out. Action, of course, going to be fast and furious during this elimination match of the championships here for our boys. And Justin Gauger going to take to the lanes for his first frame, and that one, he wasn't feeling confident getting done with the end of practice, so hopefully he overcomes the bit of the nerves coming in, as we've got Bill Doro. Dad Jeff here watching Bill bowl, and you see Bill probably the lowest rev rate out of the foursome on this pair, but it's not about rev rate in a lot of cases. We've seen that with Norm Duke this year on the PBA Tour. It is about your accuracy and getting that ball to move in the right part of the lane to get all 10 down. Don't count Doro out because of the lower rev rate. Once again, elimination match. The bowlers that finish 3rd and 4th in this game will finish 3rd and 4th overall in the tournament. As Zonlak, one of the all-stars for District 3A this past season, the jersey he's wearing right now, gets the roll of the 2, 7, and 8. Redant redundant with another strike. Doubles on the board for our top 2 seeds. Gauger, the big high backswing, strong of follow-through. And Gauger had to win a roll-off just to get into our top 8. 9th and 10th frame roll-off that he survived. And then through games of 211 and 235 to move from 8th position into the top 4, as some other players in our top 8 fell back a bit, and that one needed to fall back for Doro, as 6, 7, 10 is left for the conversion. If you're Doro right now, you got to think, I got to go for it. I got a couple of players that started with doubles. Nothing lost here, even though he's on a strike, giving it a shot. Gets 2, no lucky bounce. And that's going to leave Doro in 4th after 2 frames. Verdant. Many more two-handed players, the style taking over the bowling world. And these young players, so flexible, so limber, that they can keep their bodies very quiet through the whole shot, as Zonlak takes down all 10. That people are worried initially about lifespan, how long they could bowl for, how their backs might go bad. Those problems not happening. Now the overcorrection for Doro. 2, 8, 10. And the Bulldogs are in trouble. The 2 young men from West Dallas Central are finding themselves falling back early. Not keeping up with the strike pace set by the pair from Kenosha, with Redant from Kenosha Tremper and Zonlak from Harborside. Good cover there by Gauger. Wait to see who's going to get done with the chamois on the ball first. That's going to be Zonlak. And Zondik put a hand bone on the board for the young man. And the first errant shot for Redant in this roll-off match. Even the baby split. That needs help. And that should be a happy 9 there for Gauger. Yeah, sometimes the nerves can get a little too much for these young players, first time in a situation like this, knowing the potential audience of, well, in this case, hundreds, but eventually thousands watching as people once again can catch all these live streams in their archived form at the EBC Productions YouTube page. Duro led West Dallas Central in fill percentage this year. 46% of the time he struck for an overall 86.6% fill percentage. He was 4th in District 1 in fill percentage. And there you see Redant bounces back off the open frame with a quality shot. No sleeper here for Duro, and almost a buzzer on the scoreboard, as that one was almost in danger of leaving the 10 pin, taking off just the 3-6. Zonlak getting a step up. Zonlak, pretty new team at Harborside in Kenosha. And Zonlak led District 3A in Wisconsin in fill percentage. Of course, when you're throwing 5-baggers out there, your fill percentage is going to be pretty high on a regular basis. But Zonlak, 91.9% for the fill frame rate. A heck of a season for a team that struggled overall, but Zonlak definitely the highlight of that team. There's Duro shaking off the bad juju, getting a strike on the board for the first time in 4 frames. Gauger, take that power. Boy, if you can just find a way to contain it a little bit more and stay a little more quiet with that lower body, I will tell you what, Gauger could be a force to reckon with over the years, as Gauger was in the top 15 in fill percentage, 85.3% his fill rate this season for West Dallas Central. And once again, for these 200s, it's great that you can throw a bunch of strikes as the run at perfection ends. The dream of a dozen gone for Zonlak. And we'll see what Redant can do here. And that will just take a piece of your soul out, rip it out, throw it right in that right gutter on the solid 8. It's one of those things where the pins are driven so forcefully back towards the pit, as we see the backup ball effectively used by Zonlak on the spare. Yeah, that solid 8 pin, the head pin hits into the 2 pin and then comes off the 2 so quick it takes the 5 and sends the 5 pin to the right, where the ball simply just continues through, no 5 pin to deflect off of, and the ball doesn't get over into the 8 pin, and the 5 can't take out the 8. And that may be the end of the day for Gauger with Degree Church, and he immediately looks up at the scoreboard and knows he's in trouble, especially at the strings that the young men from Kenosha are putting up. And there it is, Duro, never say die. Big double for Duro. And try to bounce it out for Gauger, but none to be had. And a large deficit for the men from West Dallas Central right now, as Redant and Zonlak get into the chamois. Zonlak going to step up first. Zonlak currently your leader in this elimination match in our Top Gun Boys Championship. Looking to bounce back off the 10 pin, and he does. Another strike on the board, possible 279 for Zonlak. Redant's 4 goes, 9 says not this time. And that could be the opening that Duro could be looking for, is if Duro can string a bunch of strikes together here. There's an outside chance if Redant can't carry in the pocket. And that one just a little bit too quick off the hand for Gauger. And it's just one of those things where a lot of these young players think, oh, if I can just get there and throw it harder, get a couple more revs on it, it might carry better. And in a lot of cases, the cause might actually be slowing down or taking a little bit off. We see so many times on the PBA Tour where players, take a little hand out of it or move to the right along with picking up the ball speed to get the ball to hit properly. But it's just something that these young players have yet to experience. And with the more experience in tournaments under these conditions like this Top Gun Invitational, as Doro, the big turkey, keeping him in contention. As Zonlak with the big lead, but right now Redant only about a dozen pins or so up on Doro as Doro makes the comeback off the early opens in the second and third frame. And that one, you can even see it with two-handers. The elbow can still get over early. Start trying to come around the ball a little quick. The elbow gets out. Axis of rotation, not solid. And trouble out there right now for Redant. And Zonlak should be happy. That's just a 6-10. Well, the good news for Redant is the 9-pin is not there. Pardon me, the 8-pin's not there, and he gave it a heck of a run. Hopefully that pin account that becomes 2 doesn't haunt him. Or pardon me, he was on a spare, so that pin account might not be huge later on in this game. And wow. Trying to use the backup ball to his advantage. And Zonlak just makes life real interesting for players left in this match. Doro, give him the ham bone. Gauger just trying to get out of the way, but a nice toss there by Gauger. Redant, 85.98 on the fill percentage this season for Redant. So he was in the top 10, of course, Zonlak here, and he's going to start over again. Smart thing to do right now. Something doesn't feel good. Take the step off. No harm, no foul. No shot clock here on the live stream. So he will defer to Redant, who needs some help and gets it as that ball started a bit to the left, but managed to get the ball to hold and carry. 211 now, the maximum for Redant. But Doro looking at a possible 237, almost the shaker on the 2-8 for Zonlak, but Zonlak with a spare here is going to seal himself into the championship match. Zonlak averaging over 224 on the day to get to this point. Doro stuck at the line, and that's going to make the 10th frame real interesting for these players, assuming a conversion by Doro. Zonlak, I didn't read that wrong. It was 91.94% of the fill percentage getting into the season, but a little shaky in a couple of spares here to this point. But he knows right there with that spare, he has himself into the championship match. And a big shot here for Doro to stay on the advantage and in the number 2 spot, which he's done at this point. Gauger would still shoot 215, so don't count him 100% out yet, but the chances are slim and none, and unfortunately Slim's name is Redant and none's name is Doro at this point. He would take opens from both players for Gauger to have a chance to step up in the 10th frame and advance into the championship. Zonlak knows he's in And the paralyzed 5, 2-pin hit the ball, hit the 5 at the same time. Big shot here for Redant. Wide once again, and he can't get the roller on the 2-pin. And now that is a must spare for Redant in order to put any pressure on Doro and Gauger. And it's looking now like Redant, after that opening 3-bagger, maybe one of the 2 left on the outside of the championship match, as his maximum now is 191. Zonlak, 224, will get him into the championship match. And Redant needs them all here to just put pressure on opponents. Gets them all. 201 for Redant. Gauger needed that, and what a terrible break. The 4, 5, and 8 after the 2 falls on a light hit. And that one may be day over for Gauger. After trying to make a comeback, other players stumbling, he put together a double in the 8th and 9th. May not be enough, but the big ball here. It's by Doro. A mark here and good count gets Doro into 2-0s and gets him into the championship match. Trips out the 4-9. And the open there by Gauger is going to leave Gauger in 4th position at 180. And so your 2 players advancing into the championship match are going to be Jacob Zonlak from Harborside High School in Kenosha and Bill Doro out of West Allis Central. Bowlers finishing up this match. You're going to get some short instructions on how to handle the championship match. And I'll be back with commentaries. Phil Brilo with you here from Bowlero and our boys championship for the Top Gun coming up next.
Justin, 4th place with 24-hour high factor gift certificate, a $50 Visa gift card, and a 4th place medal. Thanks for going in. Appreciate it. And Sam, same thing, $50 gift certificate, $50 Visa gift card, 24-hour high factor gift certificate, and a 3rd place medal. Thanks for going, sir. Thanks for going on there. You will have lane choice in the championship match. So watch other girls do it. It's like how we do it on TV. So if you start first on lane 61, you finish after Bill on lane 62. If you want Bill to finish after you, let him start on lane 61 first, then Bill first, and then you can go on 62, 61. You want him to finish with him, then he'll first. Well, that's the lane choice. So because if you start the lane 61, he'll finish the lane 62. So you want to start then? Okay. So all you gotta do then is get rid of wait a minute, go back up there, and then when you're on the lines, and keep it up. That's all setting up. So this is just like TV, so James will bowl 1 frame, then you're gonna bowl 2, then he'll bowl 2.
And then the final one.
So wait for the, there you go. Yep. Wait for the round of applause and we'll get you guys going.
I made this final round of JDSC. I made the hammer and stuff.
You know, you've been there before.
Yeah, I know.
You guys got any, no pressure.
I'm all good. Saturday night.
All right, the bowlers have been instructed. The lane choices have been made. And as you see right there, Jacob Zonlak's going to get things started here. On lane 61, Bowlero in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. The original Bowlero hosting this Top Gun event in 2019. And there you see Zonlak starting things off, and Zonlak starts with the strike. So Zonlak average over 224 all day. Hey, puts 224 on the board for game one of this championship final in the eliminator. Bill Doro used a big string of strikes after a couple of early opens to get himself into the number 2 spot. And that one you see right there, just settle down, just let it happen, take your time, and goes back to the bag and gets a little glove to wear under that wrist device. Of course, those wrist devices will hold a little bit of sweat, a little bit of perspiration. Throughout the day, you see many of these young players switching those armbands, wristbands, socks, if you want to call them that, for inside those wristlets. And Doro looking to shoot the pins in numerical order, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and unfortunately for Doro, he chops the 3 off the remainder. But as Doro learned last game, if you're going to open early. Gives you time to get those strike strings going and gives you a chance to try to get into that $150 Visa gift card and the High Five Gear jersey. Yeah, once again, maybe the nerves picking up a little bit for Doro. As a little quick on that shot. Just the 2-pin remains. Once again, you expect these young players to cover those single pin spares with regularity. As their fill percentages during high school competition is what's made them eligible to participate in this Top Gun Invitational. Hey, and don't forget, if you're watching this and you're near any Bowlero location, AMF, Bullmore, or Brunswick Zone, they do have the summer passes for their bowling events. Pay once, pay one flat fee, bowl all summer from May 20th to September 2nd on one flat fee. You can go to your local Bowlero, AMF, Bullmore, or Brunswick Zone in person to check out the pricing near you, or you can go online and see what pricing may be available. As you can go to Bowlero.com and make your way through all the Bowlero brands and see what's available for that summer pass. Verdant comes a little bit high and lucky to get the 4 out, leaving just the 6. Zonlak should have no problem with the spare. No, he went back to the conventional. Wave Sheehan. We saw him use a backup ball, attempt to use a backup ball a couple times during that eliminator match. Went back to the conventional spare shooting style, hooking it a bit from the left side of the lane. And Doro with the high hard one. Gets himself back within 20, can knock it down to 10 if he can bring up another strike in frame number 4. Once again, it's one of the beautiful things about the sport of bowling. It's not always about the revs and the ball speed. So many times that fine touch is needed to keep the ball in play. And Doro doing the smart thing, catches something out of the corner of his eye. Gets himself reset. Smart thing to do. Never, even in league, there's something that catches you. For those of you that bowl league back home, hey, if it does it once a night, something catches you, set the ball back down. Heck, I'd like to set the ball back down and grab a sip of my cold, refreshing beverage on occasion after I get a little parched on the approach. Looking for the double in the 4th. Trip out that 4-7, and that's a kind of shot where if he had a 500 rev rate coming in at that angle, there's no way that 2-pin hits the sideboard in a way to get that 4-7 out. It's knowing your own game. It's knowing what it takes to carry and making the best of a lane condition situation. Verdant still up 10, but working on a spare in the 3rd, entering the 4th. A little more loft on that shot to try to delay the hook, and a little too quick as the 2-4-5 remains. Of course, loft just one of the many pieces of the puzzle these young players are learning how to use to combat these lane conditions as they break down. Takes care of that 2-4-5. And 7 pins now the advantage for Zonlak getting into the 5th frame. Don't forget, on that EBC Productions YouTube channel where you're watching this right now, plenty of other past bowling tournaments involving youth players, high school players, college, involving women, adults, men's adult, and manages to get that flat 10 to go for Zonlak. Keeps his advantage at 7, but he can find himself down 3 if Doro can strike in his beverage frame in the 5th. Can't call it the beer frame with these young players. We got to call it the beverage frame. So Doro looking for the turkey. Using a little bit of loft. That needs to come in a ton, and that was a little bit of early elbow rotation to go with the loft. It's the hardest thing for young players sometimes to stay under that ball as you're trying to get the ball out of the lane. Some players that have such a fine touch with it, like Anthony Simonson, Marshall Kent on tour, but it took them years to develop the touch to where they're at now for loft. Sometimes it's easy for the bowlers to just give it a little extra, and that is going to be a painful open for Doro in the 5th frame, and that's going to take the advantage back out to 22 at a minimum for Zonlak with half of our championship remaining. Doro not wasting a lot of time on that shot, and sometimes emptying out the memory cache and just getting the job done is the best thing to do, and Doro does it in frame 6. Gets that light mixer. Going back just for some words of advice from Dad Jeff. I know his mom Diane, big supporter, probably watching live right now wherever she may be.
Tanisha, we have your cheesy fries at the front desk. Thank you.
And speaking of cheesy fries, not a good spot for that 7-10. Once again, the $100 Visa gift card still in play. If someone were to make a 7-10 or Big 4 on our live streams. So a little bonus here if Zonlak can somehow manage to make the miracle conversion. And we've seen pins bounce out of the pit here at Bowlero on occasion throughout the years. He's going to slow hook it into the 7. Smart move. Take the 1 on the strike. Don't lose the count. And now just a 10-pin advantage for Zonlak with 4 frames remaining. Zonlak, 2 strikes in 3 previous attempts this game in that lane, and we'll have to see how he decides to shoot at this 10-pin. We saw him throw the backup at it during the elimination match, but then he also missed a 6-10 later in that elimination match, throwing the backup ball. So it's always good to have those options. You know, we see Anthony Simonson on the PBA Tour using the backup ball on occasion. He's even used it to win PBA Tour Championship, and there is the backup ball for Zonlak, and there is the conversion. Keep himself up by 10 pins, but currently that 10-pin deficit that Doro's facing, stepping up here in the 7th frame, can make it an even match if Doro can place another strike on the board. But this is the lane that Doro's struggled with. He's gone wide 2 of his past 3 shots on lane 62. Little left of where he was last time, and that's the problem. You get the quality loft, you think you threw it where you're supposed to, and then you stayed under it that time, revved it properly, and now the 3-6-10 standing in Doro's way from a larger deficit. As you see, moves well to the left of the approach. Gets that ball to hook up, and not enough. And that is going to be a big comeback needed by Doro. If he punches the last 5, that'd be 202. Right now, Zonlak pacing out at 194 if he were to alternate strikes and spares the rest of the way out. I don't want to say Doro's in mandatory strike mode right now, but anything less is trouble. Slaps the 9 out. Still hope, but it's going to take a stumble from his opponent. As right now, Doro finds himself down by 32 with Zonlak entering his 8th frame. Zonlak's maximum right now, 224. Maximum for Doro, 202. And it's always funny when you say week 10 for two-handed players that rev it up at 500 revs and throw it 20 miles an hour, but that ball doesn't go through the pocket properly. That 6-pin just kind of goes in the flat gutter and doesn't do much of anything. And Zonlak making sure the surface of that bowling ball clear from oil, and let's see if he uses the backup once again. There it is, off that corner, hooks it across, and covers it nicely. So 21 the advantage right now for Zonlak. Just 2 frames remaining. 213 the maximum for Zonlak, and a strike here in the foundation frame will go a long way towards trying to secure a win for the man from Harborside High School in Kenosha. Zonlak using that chamois, making sure That surface of the bowling ball is clean from shot to shot. And young man, a little bit of a holler. Zeinlach doing the right thing. Going to step off. Gets the 10 to go on the high hit, but not the 4. And this match is going down through 10th frame. Zeinlach with the cover. And here's, well, I wouldn't say the ball of the season right now for Doro, but pretty darn close, as he needs his foundation frame strike to have any chance of thinking about grabbing victory here in the Top Gun Invitational. Left to target. That's high, and that may be the shot that seals it for Zeinlach while he's on the bench. As Doro's maximum now is 182. Could force Zeinlach to mark, and that's trouble, but he manages to just slap the 6 into the 10. So a strikeout by Doro would be 182. That would force Zeinlach to mark, as if Zeinlach were to go 9 miss in the 10th, it would be 180. So it's mandatory strike mode for Doro in the 10th. Anything less, and Zeinlach will be our Top Gun champion. And that is the end of the road. And that's the man that's going to be taking home second place today. Heck of a run to this point, but you can tell these young players are only satisfied with taking home a championship. But Doro, very young player, still plenty of high school career left for the young man, and something tells me we're going to be seeing a lot more of Bill Doro on the high school scene as the seasons progress. As Doro finishes up the championship match at 158. And now it's just the victory lap for Zeinlach. Zeinlach's going to be taking home a $150 Visa gift card along with the High Five Gear jersey and the championship medal. Not a bad day for Doro, though, however. Doro gets the jersey, a $100 Visa gift card, and the second place medal. And a lot of people new to bowling may ask, oh, how can young bowlers receive merchandise awards, that type of thing? Well, the United States Bowling Congress in their rules allows players to be awarded up to $500 in merchandise in an event. I mean, these young players have to buy jerseys that you see wearing the back and bowling balls that they use, and hopefully both these young players will be able to do that. And with the meaningless 10th frame for Jacob Zeinlach, Zeinlach taking home that boys championship from Bowlero and Wauwatosa. Thanks to everybody for joining us today here from Bowlero. Remember, subscribe to us on YouTube. Catch our past shows, catch future live streams as well. I'm Phil Brile. Remember, everybody, $2 Phil says take the kids bowling so they'll have fun for life, and we'll see you next time from Bowlero in Wauwatosa.
Gentlemen, nice bowling all day long. Bill, you get a High Five Gear jersey, customizable. You also get a, whoops, I got it. You got that one? Thank you, sir. You also get a $100 Visa gift card, buy a new bowling ball, and a second place medal. Appreciate your bowling, thanks. Nice job on that. All right, let's hope so. And Jacob, I'll run all day. Nice
job. There you go. Your high-five gear jersey, fully customizable. $150 Visa gift card. Take mom and dad out for dinner. And your championship medal. Congratulations. What year are you in school? Oh, seniors is good. So way to cap it off. So nice job. So thanks again, everybody. Safe travels. Appreciate everything you guys do for your kids. We'll have some information about some summer tournaments for kids going to junior golf the next month or so.